for that.
Joyce of Pennsylvania.
Does anybody have?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I thank our witnesses for being here today. I think you recognize the commitment of Energy and Commerce Committee to your issues. The fact that our first roundtable discussion is addressing energy. The fact that our primary pieces of legislation that you're going to see this week are going to address energy. Your input allows this committee to even be stronger. American energy production, we all recognize it's safe, it's clean, it's the most efficient in the world. And yet at every turn, the Biden administration is putting up roadblocks for domestic production. Our successful future for energy independence is based on clean natural gas. It is based on advanced nuclear power. It is based on utilizing the energy sources under the feet of my constituents in central Pennsylvania. We have those resources, and God gave us dominion over the resources on this earth. We need to back away from the overregulation and unleash that energy onto America. We need to unleash that energy and share that with our friends and allies throughout the world to once again establish the energy dominance, which is so important right now throughout our country and throughout our world. We have seen, and I wanted to address two specific questions to our panelists. I come from an energy-rich Pennsylvania, and Mr. Eshelman's roots are in Pennsylvania. He recognizes, and your whole group recognizes, the importance of natural gas. I would like you to address, to fine-tune this conversation from this roundtable, of how important the natural gas industry is, not only in Pennsylvania, but the resources that we have in Pennsylvania, and how that could positively impact not just the Keystone State, but the entire Northeast and the entire country.
Thank you for that opportunity, and the shout out to the Commonwealth. I'm very proud to have been born and raised there. Natural gas is uniquely an American product. It's born, it's produced right here in the United States. We don't import it from anywhere else in the world. As a matter of fact, we export it to other countries who need it. So that's one of the big things, is our national security and being a player on the global stage. But natural gas, its taxes, the royalties and rents and bonuses I mentioned before on federal lands, that benefits every American. It's the second largest income source to the federal treasury. So it's very important to keep natural gas production going. In the state of Pennsylvania, for example, there's a natural gas impact fee, and every county receives money for natural gas production from out the state, even if your county doesn't produce natural gas. So from an economic and military and national security, global security, natural gas use is extremely important as it's produced here in the United States.
I think this discussion would be at a loss for me personally if I didn't address the agricultural impact. I come from a district where agriculture is the #1 industry. And the impact of these rising energy costs, Mr. Hickman, is something that you and I briefly discussed before this roundtable. The president of the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau from Juniata County is Chris Hoffman, a constituent, a farmer. And he and I have had these conversations, as you and I have had, of the impact of the rising energy costs, whether that's affected diesel fuel for your equipments in the field, whether that's infected the bagging and packaging of industry, necessary forms of agricultural product that you brought specifically to this roundtable. Can you talk about how the rising costs of energy continue to impact the agricultural industry in the United States?
Well, another issue that I hadn't brought up is financing. And farms that, if you were borrowing $500,000 2 years ago to run your operation at much lower interest rates, and then today you have to borrow $1 million, this is really challenging some people's credit worthiness if they put their land up for collateral for the bank loans. It impacts the federal crop insurance business because, farmers have so much invested in their crop in 2022, the crop insurance values are not adequate if you have a disaster, drought, flood, whatever, to cover the cost of the inputs. So there's many other facets of agriculture that's being affected, and it certainly makes it a riskier business. Agriculture's always been risky. You know, we deal with Mother Nature on a daily basis, but when your input cost is double, it just increases the risk so much.
Mr. Hickman, your comments allow us on Energy and Commerce to understand that impact. And I want each one of you to recognize that we are committed to working for you on the Energy and Commerce Committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield.
Thank you. The gentleman yields back and now recognize